Today's guest conversation is with the founder, CEO, and design director of Warstic, Mr. Ben Jenkins. Here's episode 64 of the Baseball Forward podcast. Mr. Jenkins, how are you, sir?
Pretty good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. You know what? I want to say this publicly on the record. I want to apologize to you. I sent Mr. Jenkins a message yesterday, and in my copy-paste haste, I called him Coach Morris. And he sent me back a message and said, no, I'm not Coach Morris. So, hey, I bet you that'll never happen again, but I wanted to apologize. This is not Coach Morris. This is Mr. Ben Jenkins. I called him Coach Jenkins too, just for fun, but this is Ben Jenkins.
No worries. I was more offended by someone calling me a coach.
Why is that? I want to know that. Why is that?
I'm just a dad. I'm an ex-player dad coach guy, you know.
Yeah. Hey,
I hang around a lot of coaches, so
you know what? I think you need to come to grips with coaching because I'll say this, man. I've been paying attention to a gentleman named Jenkins, and this dude's on the come up. So don't tell me that you didn't have anything to do with that. Hey, this dude's the quarterback. He's a stud middle infielder, first team all district as a sophomore. Did I read that right? Did I see that right? Hey, but I followed him on the old X machine here before this podcast. This dude can swing it, fellas. Like, he can swing it. He is a good-looking 6'1", like 180, good-looking hitter. So don't tell me you can't coach. Tell me something, Ben, that you had something to do with what Shaw's doing right now.
Oh, yeah, I had a lot to do with that. That's for sure. I think I really enjoy I did a lot of coaching with all three of my sons, till the age of, I loved coach pitch. I loved the younger ages, but after that, the team thing, it just was like, hey, selfishly, I should I like the individual behind the scenes. I love to be in the cage with them and that kind of stuff. So for sure, the youngest one got the most attention, and man, he just has one goal, really. It's to be better at me at both sports, which, I mean, it's not a super low bar, but it's not the highest bar. So it's always been this thing with me and him, like, prove it, just do it, and he's really retained. He's super coachable, and he's just, if any kid is Warstic in terms of just the mentality of the idea that it's not all God-given, that it's there's learned skills, and it's always a progression and things like that. Like, coaches meet him and they instantly get it. They're like, oh, this kid loves to figure things out, and he picks things up. Like, I had him and he's lucky. Like, he's gotten to grow up around Uncle Ian Kinsler. That helps.
Yep, that helps.
And then, sometimes Uncle Justin Upton comes into town to Kinsler's house, and Shaw shows up. And even Upton commented the other day, they were working on some really advanced, move, they were like, you're coming in a little steep, right?
Okay. Steep.
So I was like, yeah, I get it. How do I fix it? And they're going into, sorry, I got to turn
It's all good.
This is what you get for Zoom calling with a CEO. Like, it's going to just, I can't even turn all the things off. So anyway, like, Jay Up is telling Shaw, I'm listening in just like a little kid, and Jay Up's kind of explaining this and that. And then Shaw just like instantly does it. And Jay's like, I can't believe that he that quickly picked up. That's advanced moves. But I said, well, that's kind of his thing, and that's why I kind of put up with letting him, learn all about baseball that he can, because I just know that it's kind of the most important thing in this game is to always be learning, always be moving forward, always that internal motivation. But man, I was the opposite. Like, I was a really good athlete that somehow had some bat speed, and I could put the ball out of the park somehow at my size. And he's like bigger, stronger, faster than me. But like he's just so much more polished and advanced than I was at his age. But yeah, he's got a really amazing swing. Like, I just love to watch it. So it's really fun to see him progress and add little things. And
hey man, I'm gonna say this. Like, I see a lot of it, and I'm telling you, Jay Up, and I'm sure Mr. Kinsler says the same things. He looks good, man, and the swing looks good. It's so repeatable. And I want to read this because, man, it hit me, and I'm like, this is what you said about your son, I want to make this full circle. It's our ability to bounce back from failure and defeat mostly determines our success in both skills and life. Warstic athletes possess a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset. The mindset that our ceiling is not defined by our talent, but rather only our capacity to learn. Shortcuts and life hacks are not for the warrior. The warrior is about the journey because he knows experience and wisdom are his best weapons. Dude, I read this and like I love Warstic, but I try to be objective. And when I'm objective, as a former baseball player and a guy that has 2 kids and a guy that is like understands what matters, this connects with me so much. And I hear you talking about your son Shaw, who's going to be a junior. I gotta imagine that for you as a dad, that's got to be like the most fulfilling thing is what you just said. He's coachable. He learns, he adapts, he grows. So I know you're proud of all your sons, but specifically, like, is that just a really satisfying feeling? Like looking at him at this point in his career with everything that he's kind of learned through, up to this point?
Absolutely. I probably should actually appreciate it more. I get in dad mode and I'm just kind of I'm always in it. And what are we doing next? And what are we working on? What are we not working on enough? All that kind of stuff. But like, yeah, in hindsight, like, one, I didn't teach him. I never cared when my kids were little bitty. We were living in trailers and camping and fishing and doing all this, but it was like, hey, let's play sports to see if it's something you even like. I don't, everybody assumes that I have to have that as a sports guy, as a Warstic guy, but
that's right.
I didn't create the passion for sports, but like I noticed my connection with this kid specifically was he wanted to be in the front yard throwing some kind of ball or hitting something. Like it's just that. So it like I knew his natural thing was this is what I want to be doing, and as much as I can, show me how to do this, show me how to do that. But yeah, I'm super proud of that. I didn't really, I've nurtured and reminded him always of that. If you're not doing well at something right now, you just haven't figured it out yet. And I got that kind of honestly from the Kinslers and Michael Youngs, especially of the world, who I think is who the Kinslers got it from. But like Michael Young was always like, well, if something wasn't working, I just found another door to go through. It was just telling me that that's not the right way to do it. There is a right way to do it. So he's just, he's a sponge, right? And I maybe I nurtured that, but instead of saying like, hey, I'm proud of you or good job, what you're trying to do is add to that. Like, hey man, good job. I realized that you weren't having your best day halfway through the game, but you kind of got your body language back together. You got your attitude fixed and you got back in that third and bat and you made something happen. So you're always trying to internalize for them that motivation's coming from them. It's not just always seeking validation from other people. So he's just like, I've seen him do some things. He's only barely over 16 years old. He's still so young, which is what's cool about it. But like, he's as a parent, we don't want the hard things to happen to our kids, the adversity.
Yeah.
But like, I can really point to, all kinds of things from age, 8, 9, 10, 11 that happened that I didn't like that they were happening at the time, but ultimately molded him into a much more hard-nosed warrior type kid. Like 7th grade football, he tries out and I'm like, what are you trying out for? And he's like, quarterback. I'm like, oh, why? He goes, I don't know. That's what I go. You've never done that before. Because the dad coaches before that wouldn't let him do that. They'd let their own kids do it.
Fact.
But yeah. But 7th grade is kind of a big moment in Texas football. It's like kind of when you start your path towards things. And he's like, I go, that's really hard. That's like baseball. Like you're going to fail a lot. You throw interceptions and everybody will blame you. Like, what about something more fun and easy, like receiver?
Wow.
I kind of tried to talk him out because I wanted to make sure that he's like understanding that we already do baseball. We got the hard one. But he's like, well, you were a quarterback and you're trash. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm like, okay. And then, he's all excited. He goes to practice. And of course, at the time, he wasn't, he was decent size, but there was a kid that was this much taller than him. And in junior high, they're like, okay, you're starting, you're second because you're bigger, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
He comes home and he's not crying, but you can see that emotion welling up in him because like he was really wanting to do it. he had put some work in, and I go, hey man, like I get it. He goes, I'm better than that kid. And I'm like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, well, can you call Marcus? That's like a little quarterback guy he knows that. He's like, can Marcus come over and work with me in the front yard? And I go, yeah. So you just go right to that. Wow. He gets in the front yard, and by the first real game, he was the starter, and it was just clear as day. And then 9th grade, he had to do the same thing. Like everybody's like, oh, the kid from the other junior high, man, he's bigger, stronger, like he's going to be the guy. Ugh, yuck. And so I was like, he'd already learned at that point. He's like, no, I'm the guy, and I'm going to outwork him in this. And then, first scrimmage, it's like touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And the other guy's like, hey, coach, I need to play a different position. Because Shaw always knows the path to getting to where he wants is the work and the learning. And he's been through like 8th grade. He broke his collarbone, and that was horrible. And he couldn't do anything for 3 months. So it's just like he's war torn, even at his young age. And when adversity comes up, I think he is really good at handling it and knowing that it's just part of it. It's you welcome it, because it's like, this is going to make me better. And he's a kid. Like he's had some umpires get under his skin.
Sure.
And that was a learning lesson. And like a good one, like a really good one this year. Yeah, you mentioned he made varsity. He was the only sophomore.
Let's go.
Texas 6A baseball is very competitive. There's a lot of kids in all the programs.
Yep.
He made varsity as a sophomore, and then he was the only starter. And he had to battle an 18-year-old kid to win the job over the first 3 weeks and this and that. He's doing really good. But then the knucklehead decides, as he's getting close to the end of district play, I think the kids are like, oh, who's going to get all district and this and that. Well, that knucklehead starts to look at his stats for the first time.
Oh.
And he goes, oh, man, my stats are pretty good. I think I can do it if I just – and I'm like, I go, I don't know what you're doing, but I've told you, no point in looking at the stats. Just keep doing what you're doing. He looks at his stats, and, of course, then he's pressing.
Yep.
And he goes like 0 for 10 for a couple I don't know. He goes like a lot. I mean, it wasn't like a super bad 0 for 10. Like he had some good at bats and all that, but he's like, I told you. Like,
yep.
You're focused right now on those numbers, and you're not focused on the ball.
That's right.
He knows this more than anybody, and he let an umpire during that stretch. An umpire was definitely calling some really bad pitches, and he kind of like, you could see it, like he just went crazy and lost it. And I was like, okay, the whole lesson here is you're not mad at this guy, you're mad at you, and you're just like this. It's just one of those things. But he has to be reminded too, to stay in
presence.
Yeah, just all of it. Like I've learned a lot too, just growing up with him. Like things that, man, I wish I would have known that when I was 15.
Man, no kidding.
That our minds so much control what our body does, and he's gotten really good at giving himself a good vision of what he's about to do or what he's going to try to do, and the body's like, cool, let's do it. And then without that, your body's like, what do you want me to do? And it's too late. So little, really strong psychological tricks, like he already knows at a really young age. So that's probably why he's, and I haven't bothered showcasing him. Like I never fell for showcasing him at 12, 14, whatever. I go, bro, I mean, I am lucky. Like I know a lot of baseball people. I know a lot of coaches. It's just the benefit of being in the game so long. So I'm like, hey, you just focus on getting good behind the scenes, totally in the dark. And when the time comes when you can go to a showcase and actually raise some eyebrows with whatever tool it is, we'll go showcase. We'll do some things. So that I didn't even show him to anybody other than just playing high school ball.
Man, and you know what?
Until this summer. And he's going into his junior year. So he goes to one PBR camp. He hits a ball backside 101 miles an hour.
Ooh-wee! And
I even was like, damn. I go, is that the Mega?
Yeah, which bat was he using?
It was the Mega, but it just was like, he goes, man, if I would have hit that to left field, I hit a homer. And I go, bro, I promised all those scouts right there were way more impressed that it was backside.
Let's go.
Back when I said, do more of that, and then like, so I'm just glad that we didn't really press doing showcase until you're showcaseable. I think a lot of good coaches preach that, because so many kids spend so much time showcasing when they could be back home working on their swing, working on their ground ball work, working on their game and all that. So that it only takes one coach to look at you and go, I want you, I believe in you, and you to go, I like you too. Let's go do this and see what happens.
Amen.
Not,
Hey, so Ben, let me ask you this. Talking with Ben Jenkins of Warstic here today, episode 64 of the Baseball Forward podcast. I love your perspective on being a dad, and that came through so much. This is part 2, conversation number 2 with Mr. Ben Jenkins. You were on episode 34 of the Baseball Forward podcast, and this is 64. So I could tell that the how important it is to have that connection with your kids, and there are a lot of parents out there that I think get so caught up in the wrong things. And one of I would consider a guy that I look up to, a mentor, Coach Gary Ward. His famous line is surrender the outcome. And when I hear you talking about Shaw, and I'm sure you did this with your other boys too, is it doesn't, like what you just said. So what if it would have been 110 to the left side and a home run? It's more impressive that it was backside. Trust me, the right people see the right thing. So I feel that you, in conjunction with what Warstic stands for, that's got to be just kind of like monumental. You're not saying it, you're living it, and it's showing and it's revealing itself in little things. So what the culture that we live in now, like if you were talking to parents, there's so many parents out there that are like in the fire and they don't know what to do because they're not as, let's just call it what it is, man. You have all the resources in the world created by yourself. Congratulations. That's amazing. But there's so many parents out there that are, for lack of a better word, I'll say are sheep because they don't know any better. They never did it, man. So to those people, like, how do you get to that state of mind of how you raise your kid, the way how we just talked about Shaw? How do you get to that point as a parent, and how do you trust it?
I mean, I learned it like anybody else because I wasn't that as a player at all. And I, with my first son who played, he's high school baseball and catcher for 3 years and all that, I was probably a little better than your average parent, but I was still like, I just realized I'm too worried about what happens here. I'm too worried about the results, the outcomes. And I did catch myself and go, I'm not enjoying this enough. This isn't going to last forever. Because with my oldest son, he's kind of, he was good at baseball. He's inhabited all my creative talents. He's actually way more creative than me. He's kind of creative rock star, and he played baseball just to go through the thing and did really good because he could give I mean, he was like smiling through the whole thing. Like he really didn't. He was like, this is my 3rd or 4th favorite thing. So I knew with him,
love it.
But still, like, I'm like reliving my moments with him, and he's at the same high school, and I'm like putting too much pressure on the moment. And I just realized, okay, I got to learn to enjoy this better. That was the goal. How does a parent enjoy this better? And I've learned that one of the key things, you kind of said it, one of the most key things that I learned that was actually it was kind of our theme, me and Shaw, this year as he went into varsity baseball. And it was as much a theme with me and my wife, who learned to get off Game Changer finally.
Wow. Let's go.
Getting off Game Changer might have been the best thing that she's ever done. Because I go, look, whether it's you and me watching him and comparing him to other kids, or wondering what coach is thinking, because it's usually those two things. You're comparing yourself, you're comparing your kid to other kids and where they are on their journey. You're wondering what the coaches are thinking, and you base that on the results of what happened. And with the player, it's equally bad. It's like, hey, I hit a line drive. I hit the crap out of it. It hit it 94 miles an hour, and it happened to be right at the center fielder. The result was 0 for 1. In Game Changer, my wife was like, that's bad. She would much rather have, a really weak ground ball infield hit, but you get that thing. And it's kind of like, we really learned this year, especially him, to grow up when it came to that, because the enjoyment if you redefine success as, there's all kinds of ways to define quality at bats, and it's something simple like, if we're executing our plan, if we're swinging at the pitches that we want to be swinging at, if we're barreling balls, you can't control anything else that happened. And he's really bought into that. And I think it's why he was able to kind of, as a young kid, play with these 18-year-olds and get first team all district, because he really did his best to most of the time go moment to moment. And we My wife really impressed me. She's like, I'm putting away Game Changer. And I was like, I think that's a fantastic idea, because it's just too much of like, course foot's never quite accurate, first of all.
That's right. That's right.
But you need to see, like, she's learned so much about baseball. She knows when he barreled the ball, when that was a badass swing versus a crappy one, or just like little things like, dude, that was a 3-2 pitch. This guy's throwing 90 plus, runners on second and third. He threw a dirty slider that Shaw recognized and took and got to first base. Like, it's those little things that show the maturity of him. Not a home. I mean, homers are great, doubles are great, all that kind of stuff. But it's those little bitty things that you start to learn. If you can appreciate those kind of things in that development, you're going to enjoy every game more. And just finding the small wins and everything, you have to do that. All the major leaguers I know, like even Jake Mangum, who's now emerged finally, is super fun to watch. He's like, throughout my 8-year minor league career, I've always just tried to do one really good thing each game, like, and just embrace that one thing that I was able to pull off, So it's just redefining success as something more attainable that's leads you to those better results more often. If you can stay on that, you're going to have better results more often. Like, if you can learn that as a parent, you're going to also help your kid do that. And it's been one of the things for sure.
That is beautiful. And it's like, it's gold. I mean, that right there, that's viral. You got off Game Changer. Do you realize how hard that would probably be for a lot of parents? I have forced myself, because of hearing guys like you and some of the other guys that I respect, that I'm like, don't do it, man. Don't go down it. Surrender the outcome. Applaud the work that they put in. Appreciate the work that they put in. Right.
You need to see it. Like, I told she's like, well, I can't go today at this, and I'm watching on Game Changer. And I'd be like,
yes.
But I'm like, literally, when you do that, all you can see is the results. So you can't see all the small things he did, the moves he made, the choices he made. It could be that you can't see any of that like a scout would see or a coach would see.
Wow.
You miss literally everything of that. You can see some things in videos, but usually videos that only get passed around to the family are the good ones. So
that's right. That's
it's
right.
Like, you miss so much by not being there in person and seeing it and not having the Game Changer in front of you helps you observe. Like a little thing I told him this year, like summer, like a cool thing that's got me more present. It sounds crazy, but it's been really fun, is like summer ball. You realize, like, the spring was so intense, like Texas high school Friday night baseball games against your I mean, it's badass, because it is like, it's a really revved up environment. And I think college coaches are doing their best to try to see that and see the kids, because honestly, you're seeing them under much more high pressure situations. Right.
Amen.
We get into summer ball, and no matter what, like summer ball is kind of this low key thing. What are we playing? You're playing to work on your game. The rivalry's not there. The intensity's not there. So me and him had to find things to, like, how do we show up each day and get something out of it? We have goals to work on, things you're trying to do and push yourself on, but it's like, and it sounds selfish, but I was like, I mean, play for highlights, man, because, in this day and age, like you said, there's no reason if I'm not sitting there recording, there's no way that even who Shaw is, right? Like, I'm his biggest fan.
That's right.
The thing I hadn't been doing, he's like, I really need to see my defense more. And I was like, oh no, because like recording defense, like it was a shortstop. So it's like, I didn't want to just set up a camera or something like that. So it's like, okay, I'm going to be ready to, I'm watching the batter. And it's like, if I see a swing that I can read it, like I'll hit it. And I've been capturing it with defense. But what and he appreciates it, and he's got some cool highlights that way, and he's able to show his athletic ability, and he's showing off. He's able to show more of what he's doing. But the thing I realized is, like, man, I'm enjoying the game. I'm in the game literally, because I'm almost watching every. Or I'm not off on Instagram or this and that. Or worrying about it. Like, it's actually keeping me more engaged in the game, and I'm like, hey, my bargain is I'll show up and I'll do that for you. Your job is make plays.
Let's go. Your job is to be first team all district.
And if you screw one up, we're going to look at it and see what we need to do different next time, or what. Like, there's been a couple things that he's done it's shortstop that we're like, that right there is something we need to go drill. Like, that's something that it's not going to just get better in a game. because you're not going to get enough reps at it. We need to go practice that little thing right there.
Wow.
So it's just that feedback, you know. And so you, as a parent, if you can develop a relationship where you actually can work with him like that in a non-critical way, I've achieved that with him for sure. Like you think you're bothering them, then all of a sudden, you know, after the game, he's like, "What'd you think about that? How'd that look?"
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like there's a dialogue.
Dude, I love hearing that. And I'm going to say this, Ben, like, so I have a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old. Okay. And they play on an 11U team, and I am the assistant coach, and I have a buddy, former player of mine former friend of mine that he played, and he's old and doesn't have kids, and he's so good with the kids. But this year, my focus with those guys was, dude, I'm gonna reward the work, and I'm gonna do my very, very best. And I think I did a good job. We should get the kids on here to see that. But I didn't talk about, were you 0 for, were you 1 for, were you 2 for? We talked about the in-betweens, okay? And I set up some system. I don't even know. I was signing my initials every day, but I said, I'll pay you for the work, and we're going to learn. And I said, what's the goal? They wanted to get iWatches. So they're 10 and 11. I'm like, you're not getting a phone until you're like 14. So I said, we'll get you an iWatch. So July 1 comes around. I said, you got to have X money. I will be open to buying you an iWatch on July 1st. Well, they both earned enough based on the system that I put in place. They both earned enough. Coincidentally, Ben, Ryder and Kaiser, I have nothing to do with my buddy. I said, run the team. I'm there to help. I never said anything about lineups. Don't talk about rosters. They both ended up 2-3 hole. They're impact guys everywhere. And they were, my eyeballs tell me they were probably 2 of the better players on the team. Okay. Not stats. I don't even know what they were, but my eyeballs tell me. So my whole point in saying that to you is, the work that they put in, they were rewarded with an iWatch. They're happy they got their iWatches. But as we're driving home the other day, I said, what do you guys take away from this? And my idiot son Ryder goes, I got a cool iWatch. Okay, yeah. Okay. We're trying to get a little bit deeper than that. Man, I go, how much did you guys work for that? A lot. I said, was it fun work? And they said, 100%. I never saw my boys play the game, and I get it, 10 and 11. The joy they had throwing from funky angles, working with the paddles, just going out and hitting. Dad, will you go throw to us? Will you? All this stuff. And we had joy together because there was a goal that wasn't really even affiliated with baseball, but my goal for them was put the work in. And Ben, I'm telling you, oh my gosh, the joy in their eyes and their hearts, and you can feel it because they were getting the results on the field. But ultimately, they got what they wanted. They got their iWatch. I just felt that was relatable to kind of what you were saying.
Yeah, I think you're connecting the things we want in life to the work that it takes to get it. And, you know, I think I've actually, you know, I don't think it's the craziest thing to have little, you know, whether it's $5 or whatever the reward is for not hits, but barrels. Little things, because I think it's just a matter of this. Like, here's my kid's focus.
Yes.
Just normal level. But with that treat or that thing, that focus becomes here.
That's right.
Which is what probably makes the difference between more barrels and less barrels, whatever. But like, and you know, at the end of the day, I mean, if you're a kid that's trying to play in college, if you don't think that you're playing for money and pay at this point, you're wrong. So
that's right.
Learning that, you know, performance is connected to, I mean, it's just the reality of the game, like it or not, you know.
Talking that's
I think for me, there's a little bit in that of like just normalizing that, so that if they ever do get to that level, yeah. I mean, I remember getting a pro ball and going, "Oh crap, I'm getting paid." Like there was what?
I know.
Whoa. So then you're like, well, if I suck, I won't get paid anymore. Well, that's true. The higher that you get, the more cutthroat that gets, you know. So
hey, where was your first paycheck from? What team was it?
The Philadelphia Phillies, and it
So
was
the Phillies, did you see in their upper left the Phillies logo and their address in the paycheck? What did you feel when you saw that?
I remember seeing how low the paycheck was.
Like $400. I remember that too.
No, it was 380 something. But also, yeah, I mean, the Phillies thing was, I just remember being proud to be connected that of something so old and established.
Yes,
that was cool. I had some friends. There was some new extension. What do you call them? New teams, like I think the Tampa Bay Rays. It was
okay.
It was when some of those new teams, and I was like, I'm glad that I got to play for one of these really old, established, classic teams.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a thing. But yeah. So anyway.
I like hearing that. This is the real Ben Jenkins on episode 64 of the Baseball Forward podcast. Ben Jenkins of Warstic. Hey Ben, I want to get into Warstic, man, and I'm gonna toot your horn for you for a little bit. Man,
No, I want to keep talking about my kid. I'm just
kidding. Hey, Warstic is, oh man, I loved what I saw this spring. I love the feedback that I get from the kids. So that's all good stuff. The Warstic, the Arkansas stuff. I saw like a ton of videos and really cool stuff on the. I'm gonna screw their names up, so I'm not even gonna. But much love and respect for those dudes from Hawaii. Like they fit the product and the
Yep.
mantra. So tell me, like, what's going on with like Warstic? I mean, are you super proud of how the spring turned out in baseball and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's another topic that I would next to my kid, that would be my second favorite talked about, because those are my extension kids, right?
Let's go.
Like when I'm watching a major league game and one of my guys comes up, like there's a dad feeling of watching them. But like over the last few years, as we've gotten more integrated in college baseball with our metal bats, like I pretty much just watch college baseball because it's just so much fun.
It is.
But what happened that was pretty magical this year is people don't realize. I mean, some people do, but like 99% of college D1 programs are sponsored out by, the brands that have been around a long, long, long time. So like the reality is like only like 1%. I mean, we do some of that, we are more selective about it. For us, sponsoring an entire team is more like family connection. Like Missouri is where Kinsler got drafted out of. We want to support things like that. Or I've known this coach for a long time and they're underdogs, and so I want to support. Versus, just seeing how many teams we can lock down. It's a thing to do. But I think what's happening, and we're trying to promote, and this is where the Arkansas story comes in, is there are really good teams like Mississippi State. When they won the national championship 4 years ago, which seems like a long time ago, they were open bat contract. That means the kids can swing whatever they want. So the reason a coach might do that is an SEC coach these days getting paid plenty of money. They're getting paid a lot. So they're like, hey, this is about, I want my kids to hit as well as possible. And so if you give a player a choice to swing different bat brands, they will. They're all different types and they're going to choose different things. So there's a little competitive advantage to telling kids, when you come to Arkansas, you can swing any bat you want.
That's right.
It's a little thing that really actually is a really cool thing. It frees that kid up to not have the excuse of, man, I can't hit with this bat. I can't hit with this brand. I like this, because that can happen. I mean, we're
agree.
Hitters.
Absolutely.
Not every kid in the world should swing Warstic. I'll be the first one to tell you that, or this and that. I mean, it just is what it is. Like, we're all different, and all the bats are enough different and feel different that you should connect to the one that fits you. So Arkansas, we have players at Arkansas. We have players at Auburn is open. Texas Tech, nice. University of Texas.
Really?
We have had Oregon, got locked up by somebody, but they were open. There are really some good programs, but there's not a lot. So for us, like at Arkansas, it's something like our goal isn't to go in there in the fall and like try to get every kid on the team to swing Warstic. It's to make the bats available. I'm glad you let me get this point out, because we get a lot of crap for this. People have this impression that we are paying, like bribing a kid to use a bat. And I'm like, do you think a kid like Vahiva Aloy, who just won the SEC Player of the Year and the Golden Spikes, which I never would have imagined. I knew he was good, but do you think that
Stud.
given the choice to swing any bat he wants and what he has at stake in his SEC career, which is leading to a first round draft pick, do you really think those kids would choose money over what they're going to perform with? I mean, the money that these kids get paid for NIL deals to do that, it's okay, but it's not like that kind of money.
That's
So
right.
we go in the fall, we demo, we kind of watch, we keep in touch with the team, and we'll hear back like, hey, so-and-so is really vibing on your bat. Like they're using it all the time. They're having
Wow,
success.
that's cool.
So we want first to see a kid like Vahiva. We actually worked with him 2 years in a row. Go, hey man, I like, this is the bat that I want to use regardless. Then we're turning around and saying, does this kid fit the personality of Warstic? Does he represent the character that we want to represent to kids? And then we approach him to firm up the relationship via NIL deal.
Wow.
And yes, pay him because he's got value. But that allows the interconnection of us with the university and through all the rules and regulations to show it more. And Arkansas is fantastic to work with. Like they just love what we do with him, and we love that they work with us. And obviously we love, like, he probably is the most Warstic guy to date among any player at any level that I've ever worked with. Just the human being he is, the joy that he plays with, what he represents out of the Native community, being Native Hawaiian.
You couldn't have imagined a better player than him.
I really could. I couldn't have built one in the computer that came to life and we 3D printed that came out better than Vahiva. Yep. And then on top of it, he wins the SEC Player of the Year and the Golden Spikes, which is just like, and even cooler, we connected to the product in a fun way, which was, he really wanted, he'd gotten even stronger. He wanted a little bit heavier bat than we had used last year, but we didn't really have it. We didn't have that in the quiver. So we basically worked in the fall frantically, to be honest with you, to get him new test bats, which we didn't even know what they were going to be and what they were called in the fall. And by the end of the fall, he's like, this is it. I love this. This is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. So really, we developed the bat with a real player at the highest level of metal bat play that you can imagine.
The best player.
Yeah. And then that became the Bone Saber Mega by the beginning. I mean, I'm talking, we got it done. We got it done with approved, through NCAA and all that, like weeks before the season started. And then we're like, okay, we'll see what happens. And then he goes and does that with it. So it was just really awesome because it was really real. It was really happening. It was really just organic. And like, this kid's using a tool we created together. It doesn't have anything to do in his mind with bat reviews or why he's swinging it or influenced by other kids or this and that. He's like, there was never a doubt in his mind that was his bat to the highest degree ever. And then just proving the performance of it. I mean, there was some pretty massive exit velos, which, I mean, obviously is a lot to do with him, but like, there's just no way that kid would use a bat that reduces his performance by 1 ounce. Right. So
that's right.
It was super cool. I really tried to enjoy it and watch the ride and just so proud of him. And I mean, because of that open bat contract thing being so rare, this was the first time that we had a bat in the College World Series, and he hit singles, doubles, triples, homers. It was heartbreaking to lose the way they did, but I felt that as a dad and for my other, I mean, we have several players on the team, but like, it's to me one of the best Warstic stories that we've done, just because it's so full circle about everything that we represent. So,
and it's so, talking with Ben Jenkins of Warstic here, and it's so Vahiva Aloy. I said it right. I listened.
It's hard because the W's are
Vahiva Aloy. He is, boy, he's such a special talent, but you can see how much he wants it. You can see how much he loves the game. And you know what I think is cool for you as kind of the owner of a, in quotes, owner of a bat company, dude, you hear my kids' age saying, what is that Aloy swing? What does he swing? I mean, that to me that's marketing 101. And it's not attempted to be, you're not trying to be. When you say organic, that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, he's like an AI generated freak for Warstic. You couldn't have picked a better guy. But hearing kids my son's age saying, what does he swing? What is he? Warstic. And the premium style of the product keeps them coming back. Like, and what you said makes total sense of it's not for everyone. You're not trying to be for everyone. You're trying to be for the right ones for Warstic.
We're not, but yeah, I appreciate that's premium. Premium is it in terms of we really want to work with super serious hitters.
Yes.
And the reality is super serious hitters come in all different shapes and sizes and abilities and this and that. And a great example, and you know what, it's amazing that people are seeing Behavior Swing Warstic. That's a credibility thing. That's amazing. I like when people notice that he's swinging the Mega, but hey, look at Auburn, Chris Rembert, who became, he was an incoming freshman, didn't even know for sure if he was going to start, ended up winning the job, and ended up all SEC as well. Guess what he swings? Not the Mega. He swings the Bone Saber one piece. Why? He's a different hitter than Behiba. He's a kill shot. I'm going to line drive you to death. Did he hit homers? Yeah, but it's not his game. I mean, and so that bat, there's differences between the feels and the swing weights of those bats that works for this guy and works. So I love that they didn't choose the same bat. I love that when we had a guy, Loyola Marymount, actually, that set the all-time home run record this year, and he did Bone Saber hybrid. So I've got these three great examples of badass human beings swinging three different Warstic bats that are three different feels, and they fit them. Like it just makes so much sense. And I just really, that's what I'm hoping that the parents and the kids are seeing, especially in metal bats, is that they're not all the same, and they're not, that would be bad. That just wouldn't make sense. Like there's no one great bat for every single player out there. And so it's that nuance. So we're trying to get better and better at providing those options for players. And we have gaps in the lineup that I feel we need to create, and we're working on it. We've got a kid, really excited about a kid that I can't name. I don't want to jinx it. We have one of the best players in college baseball, but also a guy that people will notice right away when he's coming out. But like kind of same thing. We almost have the bat that I think fits him, but like we're creating something new for him because that works so well. It's so motivating to us to build it. And he's that bat that we don't have in our lineup. We're going to build for him because he's the example of what kind of player uses that bat. So
I got to ask the question, Ben. So like, that is so fascinating to me. So when you're trying to get a product right for a player, walk me through that process. Cause I'm envisioning in the lab, a little bit thinner, a little bit thicker, change of sweet, like talk me through that process. Cause boy, that's interesting to hear.
I'm just a feel guy. So it's a lot less engineering on the front end. It's a lot more listening. The players know what the players at that level, they know what they feel. And so it's kind of like talking about what they've swung in the past, what they're like, what they don't like. You just listen. And I've been doing this a long time. So you can start to go, oh, I know what that is. And then you start trying, then you start handing things over and they're like, oh, I like it, but. And I never, as a creative person, that's what it's all about. Like, things don't get right out of the chute. They get refined over time until they're just right. Yeah. That's just where my hyper obsessive personality is beneficial. You just work with that player until it feels exactly right. And that could take a really long time. And here, we don't really try to put these parameters on, oh, we got to have the 2025 line and the 2026 line, and we got this. No, it's more like each thing in the quiver gets developed in its own time, and it goes when it's ready. Because that's just how I see it. You know, that's just how we do it. So we're a little unpredictable in that way. And I like that too. I think that's fine. Like, I don't give a crap when I think the traditional thing in metal bats is they tend to come out like late summer.
Oh, dude.
That's just the traditional thing. But I'm like, we'll have things happen that way. But like, I'm not going to launch a bat if I don't feel it's as best it can possibly be for what it's trying to be at that time. So, you know, like, we're a little frustrating to people and maybe our retailers in that way, because we're a little hard to figure out what's the new stuff? I'm like, well, it's not like that. It's a circle here. It's not a line, kind of thing in terms of time.
It takes the right people to understand it, but boy, when the right people are around it, it's a beautiful thing. And I'll give you credit here, man. Like with the I was not expecting the college stuff this spring, which added to kind of my enjoyment with Warstic. I like products. I mean, not just Warstic, but I like looking at products and marketing and seeing. And I did not expect what I saw from Warstic with the players. And I'm like, man, it's tying it in. It's making it personal to me. I like that. It draws me in. It makes me want to see more.
Well, it created natural hype about a new bat that was coming, but it was more than that. It's, hey, what if we make a new bat? We get it in the player. So that bat was also being tested at the high school level with kids like Shaw. So we had a selection of kids across the country that were using that in their real high school season. We had Vahiva, we had other college players using that bat. And the deal is that's about validation. There was a thought that bat may never exist in the retail market.
Wow.
What if they don't love it enough?
Wow.
What you know what I mean? Like, that's real deal. Like, let's dream something up. Let's get it in a state where they can use it. Let's go face real pitchers at the high school level and SEC level. And at that point, once you know that it's working for enough players, it's like a science experiment, right? You validate it to a degree to where you go, that needs to exist as a product. And then you bring it to market, and then you're getting your additional feedback for customers. And then really, like, that bat isn't even in retail yet, because we're continuing to prove the value of that bat.
Love that.
Through real customer interaction. I mean, the thing I love more than anything at Warstic that I really never take as enough time, if you actually go to our products and you look at the little, this bat has 500 and something reviews and it's 5-star. If you really start to read those, that's the real life thing. That's real people's real experiences of your product in the real life, in real world. And those are your customers. And like that right there is just liquid gold. And my deal with my retail partners is more like, I'm going to try to build you products that people love and that they buy. And then you help expand that, I don't really ever rely on that world to blow up a bat for me. And it's gotten complex with bat reviews these days for them to even do that. So that's a different topic. This was really kind of the year we figured out, this is how do you really do it right if you want to do it right.
We live in a world of desperation, man. We live in a world of people trying to do things fast. We live in a world of people forcing things, and they're desperate to be famous, and they're desperate for it to work, and they're desperate. And I'm not saying that's bad. No, it is bad. I'm not saying like I'm judging people for that. But what I hear is there's no desperation. It's got to be right for all involved, and that component to me is probably one of your biggest separators.
Yeah, it's hard to exist in this industry like that, but it's just how I was raised and how I think that, it's about the long game, not the short game.
Yeah.
Sounds like my golf. If my short game is better, I'd be way better. But anyway, it's kind of about the long game. I try always to do that, but there's trends and fads and colorways and this, and there's times to go jump on something because I'm like, hey, this 80s explosion that we've had that maybe fading, it's one of those things I can see the window. I'm like, the 80s didn't last forever. And then the 90s came and everything turned brown and black again. Yeah. So there's a window here. I think we could do this in a way we could capture this, this color explosion that's happening on, but can we do it in a way that looks like us? Yeah, I did. Here you go. It's the solar storm. And we created our best bats in that pink and blue color scheme, and it killed it. But in 2 years from now, nobody will want that, I don't think. But so there's things that I have to do sometimes that I got to jump on when the right time is. I have to balance between the intuitive nature of which one's which. But like, I'm trying to have a longer term vision, especially when it comes to bats, is like there's a dedication to every kid in the lineup, not just 3-hole hitter. That means you're going to make a bat for you're going to make some contact bats that aren't going to be super popular in all the reviews because that tends to be about power and exit velo. But my thing is like, it's the long-term view is like you need to build bats that are best suited for all the different. A cool baseball team is made up of all kinds of different hitter types. So why
Fact.
not build bats for that? And along the way, you'll hit the sweet spots of what is working at the time with reviews, hopefully, and that's great. But I'm like, I'm not gonna make it about that. I want there to be a philosophy through it. Like I'm on my way to like I probably shouldn't be saying all this. I'm gonna show you. Like just stay tuned. I don't want to reveal like everything we're doing to an extent, but like it's just provide a weapon for every kid in the lineup and those player types. I mean, it is what it is. Like seeing kids try to be something they're not is a quick path to not liking the game anymore.
Boy.
You know what I mean? So it's like there are kids in the lineup that should be swinging the heaviest end loaded bat possible, and that's their job. And there's kids that are exactly opposite of that, and then there's a lot of kids in between. So I just see it that's what we need to be doing, and really listening to hitters all the time and listening to what they feel and what they think, and building with them, not just trying to impress people so that they see it and go, oh, this. It's like, no, we're building this with you guys. Like interact here, talk, that kind of thing.
You said weapon, and it reminds me of my old coach Benny Castillo, Dominican crazy dude. I love Benny. How you doing, Benny? He used to always say, Ross, it's a weapon. It's a weapon in your hand, man. It's a weapon in your hand. I always tell my sons that now. It's a weapon. Swing it like a weapon. Hey, last thing I want to finish up with here, Ben Jenkins of Warstic, episode 64 of the Baseball Forward podcast. I'm just curious. We had a good conversation last time about music. I'm interested to further that conversation. What was the first concert you ever went to? Can you remember?
I remember, yeah, actually, ironically, I remember not only that, I remember the first record I bought.
Let's go. What is it?
I'm going to age myself tremendously. People usually think I'm a lot younger than I am. Oh, well. So the first album I ever bought, and then subsequently, I think pretty sure a couple years later was the first concert, was U2 War.
Really? That's good.
U2 War was the first album that I ever bought. Sunday Bloody Sunday was the first song I ever learned on guitar.
Great tune.
Sure it's the first concert I went to in Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
Yeah. But yeah, hit me the other day. That word war has been a part of my life for a long time.
Man, it sure has. Anything new? Last time we talked, you were talking about how your boys rolling around in Cali with the jazz on. Are we still doing the jazz stuff? Like, what's the vibe for the summer right now?
It's a lot of baseball right now because it's that summer for Shaw. He's recruitable on August 1st, so like there's a lot of baseball, but but like all around the house, we always try to keep it chill. Like we can tell Siri to turn on Jazz 88.7 in San Diego, and it just brings it down. So yeah, I was going to tell you. Speaking of music, I don't know if you know, but Jack White, our business partner, got inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. No big deal,
dude. I saw that. Congratulations.
So, yeah, I mean we're like, can you quit overachieving? Like I'm sitting here with these two guys all the time, and like, Rangers Hall of Fame guy, and I'm like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like business Hall of Fame. So I just try to, but yeah, it's super proud of him. Like that's pretty amazing, and I guess we'll see kind of what happened. And the guy, you guys don't realize how hard he just did a tour of 111 shows.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, whoa. I mean, I knew that the shows were happening. I went to a few and this and that, but 111 blew me away. I was like, props, man.
Dude, I would love to know can you imagine being out on the stage in front of, let's just say 100,000 people and them singing your songs? Like, I would love to know what he says. Like, has there ever been a moment where he's just like, oh my gosh.
Well, with Seven Nation Army, probably the most played song in all of sports history at this point, even beyond We Are the Champions.
Wow.
I mean, I don't care if you go to a junior high football game or high school game or a soccer game or basketball, like it's created sports, right? So that song just comes out everywhere I go, everywhere he goes. He doesn't even realize how prominent it is in like college football. And he told me one time that he has this fantasy where, because I'm like, hey, why don't you do that? He's been asked to play the Super Bowl, and it's just not. He's like,
Wow.
nah. I go, there are millions of people in the world that know that song that don't know it's you. Because I know that.
Wow.
But if you played the Super Bowl, like that connection would be made. And he's like, I get it. Because I have this is so Jack. He's like, I have this fantasy that I'd rather that no one know that that's me. And that I'm like in a street, I'm on the street corner and I'm hearing someone hum and sing that. And I'm like, and what? And he's like, I just know that I did that. That's it.
That's so cool.
And it's just like, he's through and through just a true artist in that way, that recognition doesn't necessarily have to be there for him to internalize what he created and how it affected the world, So
it's and you think about it, any critical moment.
To say I'm still not, I want the Super Bowl thing. I want like 3,000 high school marching band kids to come out from all of the tunnels.
Dude, let's go.
I want to see it as his friend for him to see that recognition happen. And he's sitting there like, I don't need it.
That fires me up. And congratulations to Jack on that. That's unbelievable. Like Hall of Fame. But I will say that song, holy cow, anytime the pressure, it's a moment, you hear that dum 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 dum. Like hey, everybody knows it. So that's good stuff. Mr. Ben Jenkins, man, I enjoy talking to you, my friend. Like you are a blast to talk to. I'm just glad we got to talk, because I want to tell you that Warstic is, man, I wasn't expecting that this spring. How cool that was with all the college stuff. And you guys are crushing it. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, to hear how your mind works. And I'll let you have the last few words. Give us a little preview of what we can expect from Warstic, and then I'll wrap us up.
There's just, as always, there's slowly but surely, but methodically, new product coming out in no certain order. But I can definitely say that later this summer, this fall, into the holidays, there's going to be new things coming out that won't be out of left field, right? But they'll be new and fresh and thoughtful, right? So just, I always encourage people to, stay tuned and interact with us. And we're getting better. I hate creating content, to be honest with you. Like, I'm here to make tools and things that people love to use. And this is creating content has become necessary and part of it. But we've got some new, young, super talented filmmakers and people at Warstic now. And I'm trying to create the best version of Warstic that has ever existed, because I don't feel like I've ever gotten fully there yet. So in my mind, they're part of that too. There's just a lot of cool stuff happening, but with a really clear vision towards what we're hoping to grow up into. I think like we're still like a young adult, like we're still getting out of college,
Wow. That's
so
cool.
Like I feel like we're in our 20s figuring out really who we are, right? Like that's I know that seems crazy because we're well into this, but I think that's the reality of it. So it's about executing that, which is the hard part. You got to get up every day, and there's always fires, but you got to try to keep on with what you're trying to build, no matter what gets in your way. So I'm trying to do that, trying to follow the signs about it. So yeah, man, well, I appreciate you having me on. This is super fun.
What's that?
Always great to put down work for an hour.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, you earned your fly fishing today, so go fly fish the beautiful rivers of Colorado. Ben Jenkins, episode 64 of the Baseball 4 podcast. We'll see you guys later.